Okay, so just continuing on about what you should include in your profile. Uh, I'll show you some examples of these, but definitely you need to populate as many of the fields as possible. A lot of them are just drop-down menus to, select skills, um, different things that you're interested in, interests, things like that. Um, but we'll talk about that a little bit further. So let's see what else we have here. Okay, there are a couple of um, articles that would be helpful for people to read. I've linked them here. These are hot links in the presentation if you want to access it, or these are the names, the titles of the articles that you can Google and look for. So there are many reasons why college students should start using LinkedIn as early as they can. I know as a recruiter, been in touch with students sometimes from their freshman year and arranged for internships and job interviews and things like that. So it's definitely beneficial to get started as early as possible. All right, so how to present yourself via LinkedIn profile. This definitely is something you need to take seriously and work on over time to develop a very good online presence in the LinkedIn network. So you can see here that I have just a screenshot of my LinkedIn profile. A couple of things that stand out are, I have a professional headshot. It really should just be like head and shoulders, nothing more. Um, Decently, attired, groomed, so forth. If it's a gentleman who's looking for a professional position, good idea to have maybe a suit tie, at least on the top. Also, you see in the background, there's a banner photo. Okay, so a wide photo. This is also something you can customize. Anything you see with a pencil basically is something you can customize and should customize, populate it. My photo, I put a picture of Bewley Library. I'm an educator now. A picture of a library is appropriate. Depending on what profession you want to go into. If it's teaching, you may want to put a picture of a school, if it's healthcare, maybe a picture of a hospital, it depends, whatever it is you want. If it's business, a picture of a corporate office building, something like that. Um, and then I mentioned headline or tagline. Okay, so there's this little area here below your name where you can customize what it is you hope to do. Okay, not just that you're a student, because LinkedIn will default to your most recent work or school experience. And so it'll say, unless you change it, it'll just say student at Southern. Okay, so, but you don't want to be known for that. You want to start developing your brand. So you want it to be forward looking. And so you can put a few phrases, words, job titles here that you hope to be. Like, for instance, you could be aspiring elementary school teacher, aspiring journalist, something along those lines. And then there's a section to put a summary about yourself. Okay. And it doesn't need to be very long. If you've ever heard of the term elevator speech, you can put your elevator speech here, which is basically just a 30-second little summary of who you are, what you've accomplished, what you hope to do, what kind of job you hope to get, that sort of thing. Just a few sentences. I obviously have more experience, so I have, kind of more information. All right. The other thing I want to call your attention to is you see, this is the link to my LinkedIn profile. And I do encourage people to connect with me. That's fine. I have a lot of connections, so you never know where something might be helpful to you. Um, so what I've done is I've actually customized this with my name so that it's a little easy to remember, okay, for someone to remember. But if you don't do that, LinkedIn will give you a URL customize a link, not customize, but basically a bunch of letters and numbers that make no sense. Okay, but you can change this and you should. Okay, so let's take a look. A couple more tips. Um, you want to make sure that your LinkedIn profile actually helps you. Okay, so you don't want to emulate LinkedIn profiles that aren't that great. Okay, so you can search around LinkedIn for people who are in the career that you want to be and look for the best ones. Don't just follow somebody who's in class with you. Okay, if it's not a great profile. Um, there aren't really templates for doing LinkedIn profiles like there are for resumes. So you kind of have to do a little research. Might make sure you have some contact information in your profile, and you can control how visible your profile is. You don't want to make it visible to everybody in the world. Okay, this is a professional tool, so you just want to connect with people who are, possibly able to help you in your career search. So you should at least have an email address, maybe a phone number, but you don't need to put your whole uh, home address and everything in there. Okay, but there are ways that you can control what aspects of your profile people can see depending on whether they are your first level connection, or whether they're the average public person. I did say that that summary section you should populate and customize. But this needs to be kind of forward looking, okay? Not just about what you have been in the past. So it should be about what you want to do, a little bit about what you're prepared to do or how you've prepared for your career. Um, but other things you might want to include are following some top influencers, companies you might want to work for, and joining groups groups that are related, excuse me, to your career. So, excuse me. When you're done with your LinkedIn profile, make sure that you take that customized URL and add it to your resume, okay? Because that's going to be very helpful. And when you save your resume as a PDF, that hot link can be clicked on and take people directly to your profile. All right, so there are some other sections that you need to customize, okay? And I talked about the professional photo, not something casual, okay, and a relevant background photo, because otherwise it just shows some generic LinkedIn uh, image in the background, and you don't want to lose the opportunity to kind of present your brand, okay? So that tagline or headline under your name, customize that, contact info. The detailed experience statements and detailed information about your education can come from your resume. Okay, usually you do a resume first, then a LinkedIn profile. So make sure to include everything that you can. LinkedIn has many different options for what to include: locations, dates, duties, school activities, degree, major, GPA, accomplishments, honors, all kinds of things like this. So you want to populate it as much as possible. Also, if you have some volunteer experience, that's very helpful. A lot of companies looking for people who are good members of the community. Um, you can include up to 50 skills in your LinkedIn profile. Maybe you haven't gotten all these skills yet, but don't sell yourself short, okay? If, say, for instance, you were a business major, okay, and you know, there's skills in there for analytical skills. Maybe you've used Excel, so you can say you have Excel skills. Um, as English majors, certainly you should indicate that you have Microsoft Word skills, maybe PowerPoint presentation skills, things along those lines, but also soft skills, like communications abilities, um, things along those lines. But you want to try and make them as practical and tangible as possible. If you have any kind of test scores, if you speak any other languages, if you belong to any kind of organizations, those kinds of things can be included. But again, like your resume, it has to be error free. Okay. You have to ask yourself, if a recruiter or hiring manager was looking at my profile, would they want to interview me based on this profile? Okay. So I mentioned groups. So as a coming or recent college grad, you would want to join groups where employers are looking to find recent grads, current college students who are looking for internships and that sort of thing. So there are a number of these groups here that you can join, college graduate job and career, recent college grads looking for entry-level positions, employers looking for recent college grads, intern world. Okay, these are groups on LinkedIn that not only can you join just to be part of the group, but you can see information posts in your feed from employers who are looking to hire. And also, employers can go to these groups to search and find profiles of students and grads that they would want to hire. Okay. So let's take a look at what a couple of actual Southern alumni did with their profiles. Okay, these are just screenshots, but we can get into um, the live profiles. So these are previous students of mine that I've taught. I helped them develop their LinkedIn profiles and resumes. You can see the one on the left, Emily. She's an eighth grade teacher and communications specialist now. She graduated a few years ago, and she has, customized this headline. She's customized a photo in the background. She has a nice professional looking photo of herself. She's customized her about section. It says she's since earned her Master's of Arts in Teaching for middle grades, language arts from Georgia Southern University, and she's teaching eighth grade English in Georgia. So that's great. Nice profile. This next one is Brianna Del Valle, and she is celebrating her Hispanic heritage. That's great. It's something very personal for her. Nice photo, smiling photo. And she says she was an English major graduate, passionate about grant proposal and technical writing, seeking opportunities, where she lives, her contact info, and where she's worked. So, good profiles. Let's see. All right, we're not going to go to questions quite yet. Let's get out of this. Let me stop sharing and go to our live LinkedIn site. So let's see if I can share this. Hopefully you can see this. All right. Yeah, that's not showing on the screen behind me. Good. So here you can see this is my feed. Okay, this isn't my profile yet. This is my feed. So you will get, interesting articles and posts for people you're connected to or companies you follow. And you have a little snapshot of your profile on the left. What you want to do is go over, once you start your account, is to populate your profile. Okay, so let's look at the view of the profile. So this is my profile. So you can see, there's pencil marks here. Wherever there's a pencil mark, you should try and populate that information and keep it updated over time. This is something that should grow and develop with you throughout your career. Right here, what I'm pointing to is the public profile and URL. This is where you can customize the link that LinkedIn automatically assigns you when you develop your account. Okay, you should definitely change that to something that's easy for you or a future employer to remember. Okay, you don't want to leave it the, random numbers and letters that they produce for you. Right. You also see there's this thing called add profile sections. So there's sections you can choose to include or not include, depending on whether you have information to populate it with. Okay. But generally, you can include information about yourself, okay? Forward-looking information, kind of what you're prepared to do, what you want to do. Leave it sort of generic in the sense that you don't want it so customized that employer is going to think, oh, well, they wouldn't want to work for me because they want to do this other thing. Okay. So you want to kind of leave it a little bit broad, but include some general sense of what kind of field you want to get into and why you would be a good hire for that field. There's a section to feature writing samples, for instance, as English majors. Perhaps you have done some writing, done an internship or something. And so if you do have that kind of information, or maybe a paper that you got a good grade on that you're particularly proud of, you can add them here and feature them. So for instance, here you see, last summer I helped edit a cookbook. So I added that. Also, I wrote an article, okay, in a local magazine. And then also I posted an article that I wrote on LinkedIn. You can do that. You can post articles on subjects that you're interested in. You can write them and post them on LinkedIn. So that's another section you can add. Activity will just show up in terms of, things you've done recently. You can create a post, whatever posts will show up under your activity. But here's the important thing, experience. Okay, so you want to add each employer that you've worked for, years, months when you worked there, their location, what part of the country were they in, their, you know, title, if you had a title, a job description kind of thing. And then you want to include some information about what you accomplished in those roles, not just what tasks you performed, but what did you accomplish or what did you learn from that experience? Okay. Even if it was just a generic, lifeguarding job, what did you learn? Responsibility, being dependable, that sort of thing. You can see I've had a lot of job experience. I've been around a while, so I have a lot of information. So there's lots of different experience you can include. You can include skills, technologies that you've used, and so forth. Education, you absolutely should include this. Include everything in terms of what degree you earned, what major you earned. If you haven't obtained it yet, you can put the month and year that you expect to attain it. Recruiters and employers want to know, like, when are they going to graduate? Yeah, maybe they want to be an intern now, but how long is it going to be before they're available to be hired full time? You want to put if you're a member of any honor societies, if you've gotten any kind of specific certifications, anything like that. If you're licensed in anything, if you can do CPR, something like that. Volunteer information, okay? As much as you can, include that. If you haven't volunteered already, try and do something, so you can add it here. Here's another part that's really helpful, which is skills. You can add up to 50 skills, and these can be anything from technology skills using Microsoft Office to soft skills. You can see I've got all kinds of technology, teaching, writing, social media skills, editing. It can be just communications. I've got all kinds of things, management, interviewing people, databases, tools, things like that. So, go through and figure out kind of what your skills are and try and add them. But remember, if you're in an interview, a recruiter or hiring manager may ask you about those skills. So you've got to be able to back it up. You can't just go through and randomly pick a bunch of stuff. Now, you want them to be relevant to your field and have something that you can talk about, regarding them. The other thing is you may want to get people to recommend you. So this is a social network. It's a professional network. So you want to connect to people that can help you. You can connect to your professors. You can connect to me, your neighbors, your parents, other people who are out in the work world. Hopefully if you've worked for someone before and they have a LinkedIn profile, they can come on here and give you a recommendation. I have recommendations from coworkers, people who've worked for me. Um, so that's helpful because, when you want to get a job, it's okay for you to say, "Oh, I'm good, you should hire me." But it's even better for somebody else to say, "Oh, they're good, you should hire them." So now, if you have happened to publish something, maybe written something for the school newspaper or folio, school literary magazine or something, you can post this here as well. So that would be helpful for your profile. If you've taken any specific courses, additional outside of your regular college courses, you can do that. First aid, maybe. Um, and then the other thing is interests. Okay. You can show interest by following different influencers, top voices, by following companies or businesses that you would like to work for someday. Okay. Or joining those groups, like I mentioned. Okay. There's also a number of professional groups, teaching groups, business groups, things like that, that you can join. Um, there's different newsletters you can subscribe to on LinkedIn. And the schools part, the LinkedIn system populates that for you when you indicate your educational background. Okay. But you can also follow other schools. Okay. But definitely groups, you can go join different groups. You can follow different influencers. There's a whole bunch on here, politicians, business leaders, celebrities. Okay, but you may want to make it relevant to your field. Okay, so those are things that you can customize. All right. Let's take a look at some of the recent grads that I was telling you about. Okay, so let's look at Emily's full profile. Okay, so you can see what she's done. She hasn't posted anything lately, but she does list her school teaching experience. She lists her education from Southern and the other university. She's got some skills. She's populated 29 different skills. So for English, she's got, written communication, leadership, journalism, public relations, technical writing, social media, um, teaching, research. Okay. So those are great skills to add. Let's see what else. She's showed some interest in some different things, some journalism groups, social media groups. And then she's got the schools that she attended, right? Um, let's take a look at the next one. Okay, Brianna. Okay, so she's had some activity. She said, oh, she's starting a new position. She's a paralegal at Superior Court of Bridgeport. Great. She's had some other posts. She said shows her experience. She's kept her profile. Both of them have kept their profile up to date, which is important because let me tell you something. Finding a job is hard, and you're in competition with a lot of people. And it also is time consuming to apply for jobs, find jobs, searching online, applying for jobs. So here's the thing, if you have a top-notch LinkedIn profile, the jobs may find you, okay? Because employers are searching LinkedIn for people with these varied experiences, okay? And they may find you and reach out to you about a job you didn't even know about that maybe never even got posted, okay? Recruiters search through LinkedIn and look for these skills. They'll do searches for skills. They'll do searches for education, searches for different experiences. And so your profile can pop up under their radar and they can reach out to you. Now, I have had this happen to one of my students, one of my business students here from Southern. She was, as soon as she posted her LinkedIn profile and finished it, a top four accounting firm reached out to her and offered to interview her for an internship. She got that internship at a top accounting company and was later hired and has been progressing in her career and is now pursuing an MBA. And she keeps in touch with me, and that worked out very well. So the jobs can find you. All right. But just getting back to looking at another profile, you can see how it's, fully populated here. Um, let's just take a look. So she added some licenses, certifications, some volunteering work, and a lot of skills and interests in different companies and things like that. Um, let me just go back to show you my profile before we wrap up. And um, I want to talk a little bit about um, the the wording that you include in your um, resume as well as your LinkedIn profile in terms of using active voice, powerful phrasing, action verbs. Let's just give you an example of one. Okay, so here's a position that I held. Um, I I include words like, achieved a decline, rolled out global tools, implemented something, uh, troubleshot things, developed reports. So these are things that are, you know, kind of action words that you can use to show that you accomplished something, what you did. Okay. So that's important to include in your experience. As an English major, the bar is set a little bit higher for you in terms of communicating and writing. So your future employers are going to be looking to see that you can phrase uh, your experiences well, that you can use English well, uh, and that you really kind of put your best foot forward in terms of what you're writing. So there are numerous opportunities in a LinkedIn profile to write something. Okay. So it's not just in your tasks and what you've done, but it's also in your headline, your tagline here, in your little paragraph about yourself here. These are all writing opportunities that people will be evaluating when they look at your profile. Okay. So keep that in mind. All right, so I think that's about all we can cover today. Are there any questions? Let's see. Any questions?
Should you post after you like get a job or after you like finish an internship the same way that you would like list it on your profile? Like,
Yes, yes. So the LinkedIn profile shouldn't just be something that is static. It's a dynamic tool. So you should interact with it. You can, even if you don't feel like you have something to post, you can react to other people's posts. You can like them. You can comment on them. But you certainly can post things and share things, reshare things that are relevant to your career, to your profession. And as kind of join these groups and other things start showing up on your feed, you can repost them, share them, comment on them. And all of this activity can get you noticed more. Okay. The more activity that you have, the better it is. And of course, it is a social networking tool. So you do want to reach out and follow people, ask for connections, try and get first level connections as much as possible.
did you like link any other social media on your LinkedIn?
Um,
Especially it's like your personal use, so it's more professional.
right, right. I've always kind of kept my personal social media separate from my professional. Not that anybody would find much interesting there, um, but yeah, I just tend to think of LinkedIn as a place for professional posting. Unless you have like if you're a creative person, like you have a web design business or graphic design business or something, and you want to link to your website, that maybe has a a gallery or portfolio of information, something like that. You can certainly do that. So good luck. Have fun, working on your LinkedIn profiles, feel free to reach out and connect. and happy job hunting.